Okay, we're going to be talking about graphs of polynomials. And in your notes on page 7, it says the graph of a polynomial is, it's continuous. Continuous at all points. What in the world does that mean? Well, if I took a pen and I put it on a paper and I just drew, I could never lift up my paper or my pen off the paper. That's continuous. Okay? It is a smooth curve with no holes in the graph. Now this looks more like a sine curve than a polynomial, but it's okay. Shapes of cubic polynomials. There's a couple different shapes you got going on here. So you got that continuous hole shapes. If the leading coefficient is positive in a cubic, it's going to look like this. Or if the leading coefficient is negative, it can look like this. That wasn't a very good one. Or another one, if it's positive, is it can look like that. And if it's negative, it can look like that. There's just a slight curve in there. Are you seeing that? Okay. So turn the page to number 7.
Number 8.
That's what I meant. Number 8. If we're going to do shapes of quartics. Now these look a little bit like parabolas, but they're not. Some of them look like parabolas, but they're not. If the leading coefficient is positive, one of them can look like this. If it's negative, it's going to open down. Leading coefficient is negative. That's that A that tells you whether or not it opens up or down. Again, if it's positive, it can do this.
W.
It is kind of cool, huh? And if it's negative, what's it going to be?
That, but down, so it'd be an M.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I put arrows on it, but it doesn't really, either way. It just lets you know it's going on and on forever. So you'll notice the even ones, if they start up, they end up. And the odd ones, if they start up, they end down. If they start down, they end up. Okay? And for quintic, that's going to be your 5th degrees. All right, now there's a couple different things.
Well, it said there's 6 types of.
Quintic.
Sorry,
There's 3 different positives, 3 different negatives that we're going for. So on a quintic, on our leading coefficient, if it is positive on that first one, it can look a little like that. It's kind of like it looks a lot like the cubic, basically. And the negative, a little like that. I know it's not a perfect graph. The positive, like that. The negative, like that. Another positive. And then another negative.
Whoa.
Is that making sense?
In a crazy way.
Well, what you're ending up having, a quintic can look like a regular cubic kind of, or a fancy one, or this. It's just basically telling you that it can cross the x-axis in one place, 3 places, or 5 places.
Okay.
Are you okay with that? All right, let's look at that in behavior.